There's always something to worry about. This is the difference. This is what happens in the stock market. Because, see, everybody's got the brain power to do well in the stock market. The question is whether you have the stomach for it. That's the key organ in the body. There's always something to worry about. I went to school, grew up with a kid in the 50s. In the decade of the 50s, there's this big theory that the Depression was caused by a stock market crash. Totally wrong. Less than 1% of Americans owned stocks in '29. We had this big-time recession. In fact, it was a depression. It wasn't caused by the stock market. The economy went down, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates, and we had a big-time depression. In fact, we had several depressions like that from 1850 on. This was only one of about 8 depressions since 1850. But people thought the only reason we got out of the depression was World War II, and they said, once we get back, next time we have a recession, we're going to have a depression. And it's going to be a Great Depression. I never understood that adjective in front of depression. It ought to be crummy depression or bad depression, but it was always Great Depression. I never quite understood that one. So people weren't buying stocks in the 50s because they thought that another Great Depression was going to happen. In addition, people were very scared about nuclear warheads and nuclear war in the 50s. People were building fallout shelters, stocking canned goods. There's something about going to Vermont, building a fallout shelter, putting canned goods in it, that you don't buy Minnesota Mining or you don't buy Eastman Kodak. I mean, the syllogism just doesn't work out that you're buying lots of water, buying a shotgun, buying frozen food that will stay in the freezer with your own generator, and you're looking at growth stocks. Doesn't seem to work out that way, you know. And I remember in the 50s, I remember literally in classes, I was in elementary school in the 50s, and they would come in, they'd have one of these air raid drills. Somebody with a yellow hat would come in, they'd blow a whistle, and you'd get under your desk. Even then I says, I don't think this is going to do a lot of good. You know, but people were worried about a depression in nuclear war in the 50s.
Well, I think people, they're investing in individual stocks. It's sad they're careful when they buy a refrigerator or an airplane flight. They're careful with their money, and they'll hear about a stock on the bus, and they'll put $5,000 or $10,000 on it. They have no idea what they do. So you're really got to be careful. Look at the company, look at the balance sheet. What is the reason the stock should be higher? The sucker's going up is not a good reason. Well, I think looking for something different, looking for something that's a good story. I mean, who would have guessed TJX, a local company, would have gone up 50-fold, or Stop and Shop would go up 10-fold, or Analog Devices, or NVIDIA. I couldn't pronounce NVIDIA. So you have to find a company that's either a turnaround or a company that's going to grow, like Panera or, Family Dollar stores. I'm not saying that buys now, but that's what's made our, Sears is rolled over, so Kmart's rolled over, IBM slowed down, but we've had new companies come along. I mean, that's the nature. You have to be looking for new companies and look at the balance sheet. If you can add 5 and 5 and get reasonably close to 10, you should be able to look at a balance sheet and say, here's 2 depressed companies. They've gone from 50 to 3. One company's got $3 million in cash and no debt. One's got $3 million in debt and no cash. Which one are you going to buy? I mean, that's not too hard to do. We had a terrible financial crisis in 99-1. I think almost every major bank in Texas went under. Bank of New England, one of the oldest banks in the country, went under. It's like, in 08-09, the banks were doing these no-doc loans and second mortgages and home improvement loans, and people are buying boats with it. Now the bank's being much more careful. So we've gone through other crises. Some banks will go under. 400 went under after 08-09.
No, I saw the textile industry deteriorate. I was recommending all the stocks on the way down. I saw the shoe industry go away. Industries can go from terrific to terrible. There's a great expression in the textile industry that helped me a lot.
Textile industry, yeah.
It's always darkest before pitch black. Just when you think things are terrible, they get terrible squared. I mean, so just because industries are getting bad, that's not a reason to invest. Wait for things to get better.